Are there Olympics in your future?
It's been a goal of mine to swim at Olympic trials for a very long time, and I would love to see that through.
Well, it ain't gonna happen.
Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend. This is where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters, because truth conquers. And truth is conquering as we speak. There are some wins for humanity. There are some wins for men. There are some wins for women. And ultimately, it's because truth is winning. In a little bit, we'll get to Dylan Mulvaney being a little bit defeated lately. That's cool. But pressing hot off the news cycle, Lia Thomas, champion women's swimmer, deal with Lia, he enjoyed being in the women's locker room. True spirit of swimming right there. But just denied the ability to swim in the women's category in the Olympics. You can see here, transgender swimmer Lia Thomas, ineligible for Paris 2024 following Court of Arbitration for Sport ruling. Wow, it takes the courts to decide, well, that's not a woman, can't compete with the women then. And then a more sympathetic leftist headline, Lia Thomas speaks out after 2024 Olympics dreams crushed. Well, let's draw some sympathy there. What does this mean, and is it good? Well, to put it into context, just a reminder, before Lia Thomas thought he was a woman, he was, of course, ranked number 462 in the world, and then, of course, ranked number 1, like, by a freaking mile, once Lia Thomas began thinking that he is a woman. Now, quite frankly, I think this is good, but I'm surprised it's happened. The courts kind of backing up the Olympics. Everything seems to have gotten pretty under leftist control, where we look at the reality and then say, well, that's not real. You shouldn't trust your senses. You shouldn't trust truth. Truth is misinformation. So while I think this is good because it's just simply honoring truth, like Lia Thomas is not a woman, and he's got full freedom to believe he's a woman if that's what he wants to do, dress like a woman, but as long as that doesn't infringe on the rights or violate other people, then it's just freedom of expression. But Lia Thomas has been violating other people, other women, for a long time, taking their opportunities, taking their spots with his male physiology. But this gives me optimism, because the Olympics are obviously a very mainstream thing, and the fact, at least on this, they're not just blindly towing the line. I think that's definitely a good thing. I think that's a win. And one of Lia Thomas's former teammates, Riley Gaines, who hasn't become the biggest fan of having men on her team take her opportunities, was celebrating this news. Great news! Lia Thomas won't be able to compete in women's category at the Olympics or any other elite competition. He has just lost his legal battle in the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruling. This is a victory for women and girls everywhere. And I think it's a great victory for humanity, because we're living in a time where I do believe there's very deliberate attempts to weaken humanity. And one principal way that they're trying to do that is get men to behave like women and get women to behave like men. That gets people going in the exact opposite direction of their natural tendencies. Are they trying to weaken men? Yeah. Like, emotionally, you should behave like women. And here's all this food that lowers your testosterone. And if you're going to do something healthfully masculine, we're going to call that toxic masculinity. There is an absolute assault on men, and there's an assault on women to weaken them. But I would dare say, if you want to be a strong woman, the more you can embrace your natural womanness, whatever that looks like to you, this is a pretty good start. And for men, you gotta embrace your masculine. You've got testosterone. That's not toxic. That's actually healthy for you. Men need to act like men again. And when that happens, we are stronger and stronger, less weak, therefore less controllable. And I think this comment on Riley Gaines' Twitter post says it really well. Only the weakest of males want to physically compete with women. Only the weakest of intellect celebrate them. I do want to acknowledge there there is a relentless attack on men, masculinity, and an attempt to feminize men. We can't ignore it. I think the truth of why this is happening is because weak and feminized men are easier to control, which is good for manipulation and tyranny, not really good for anyone else. And that's why anyone who tries to speak out against it is quickly labeled a homophobe, sexist, misogynist, or toxic. But there is hope, and one powerful weapon against it is Black Forest Turkesterone with Tongkat Ali. It combines two of the most potent natural testosterone boosters available, and that's why it's been dubbed the feminization killer. Turkesterone is a natural anabolic compound that supports muscle growth, improves endurance, and boosts testosterone levels. And Tongkat Ali is an ancient, potent natural herb that's been used for thousands of years to increase testosterone levels, improve libido, and decrease stress levels. Black Forest makes it possible for you to take control and boost your testosterone levels when you're living in an environment that wants to lower them, feminize you, and weaken you. I've been taking it and loving it because being an actual man is important to me. This is a limited edition supplement by Black Forest. Once the stock is gone, it's gone. And you can try Black Forest Turkesterone with Tongkat Ali with an amazing buy two, get one free. This offer is applied on the website at checkout. To get yours and reclaim your masculinity, go to blackforestsupplements.com/JP. And you'll want to hurry because the buy two, get one offer is a short 48 hour promo. Enjoy. Now let's hear for the man himself, who is very weak for a man, but very strong for a woman, Lia Thomas. For the first time, I took a trip to Lia Thomas's Instagram. Here you can see it, 8,684 followers. Not very many for an elite champion athlete. Only 8,000 followers with all the national publicity Leah's got. 8,000. It's almost like people aren't genuinely inspired by Lia Thomas for some reason. So let's see what Lia has to say about the matter.
They're like, oh, we respect Lia as a woman,
Oh, first of all, that's a dude voice. Through and through.
Trans woman, whatever, we respect her identity. We just don't think it's fair. You can't really have that sort of half support where you're like, oh, I respect her as a woman here, but not here.
Well, yep. So what Lia is talking about in a rather not very convincing way, yeah, there's a problem when they try to ban men from women's sports because they say, you want to respect you as a trans woman and women's stuff over here, but not over here in athletics. Well, the problem is when you fall for any of the bait, because if you pretend a guy is a woman a little bit, then yeah, you get a little backlash when you're not willing to pretend they're a woman across the board, even in women's sports. So that's why I do believe truth conquers. If there's a guy pretending to be a woman, what would happen? And I think we're starting this as a society. What would happen if we do no pretending? If we respect their freedom, go, you be you. However you want to be, as long as you're not violating the rights of others or minors, you do you. Just don't ask me to base my reality off your imagination. And if you do ask me, the answer is going to be no. So I personally don't respect a man as a woman in any setting. I will respect that man as a man expressing themselves under their freedom rights the way they want. Like, cool, I'll respect you for what you are, not what you imagine yourself to be. Therefore, it makes it much easier to say, yeah, men dressed as women competing in women's sports, that does not work for me. And that's congruent with how I see things across the board. So anyway, Lia, if you're listening, that's my retort to your man voice comment there. Oh, and 3 other things we need to point out on Lia Thomas's Instagram. This is a powerful post. Banning trans and intersex women athletes hurts all women. It helps all women. Here's a guy to bash your skull in women's MMA. No, like we're actually helping women here, buddy. Also, very convincingly, here's Lia Thomas pictured with a cat. Now, granted, I have never seen a man on Instagram pictured with a cat, so that is admittedly very ladylike. Also, pronouns in his bio, she, her. I guess we're allowed to do misinformation in our Instagram bios, ladies and gentlemen. So, quick note on Dylan Mulvaney. As truth seems to be conquering some of the brainwashed propaganda coming from the LGBTQ, you better do as we say, agree with us, let your reality be based on our imaginations, or else else we're gonna get you. How truth is conquering some of that. We still have more to go. We got some wins. Let's go to our senior trans correspondent with an update on Dylan Mulvaney.
Everyone is finally cancelling Dylan Mulvaney. Finally.
Yeah, pretty well said. So this is the rest of the video. This lady's just really angry. Not a Dylan Mulvaney fan. Cool. So Libs of TikTok posts this. Dylan Mulvaney is getting slammed on TikTok by his own base. This video got 1.5 million likes. The left's infighting is magnificent. And if you watch the whole video, it's just a minute long. I'm not going to show it to you here because I find it rather obnoxious, because this woman who's doing the anti-Dylan Mulvaney stuff, I believe she is very much a leftist. The way she talks and wants to cancel Dylan Mulvaney because he's not speaking out about women in Palestine. It's just interesting because she very obviously presents herself as someone from the left, like a really leftist kind of person based on how she's talking. And that base is now turning on Dylan Mulvaney. It's like, yeah, cool. Dylan Mulvaney, he never had fans on the right. We get that. But the left, when they start consuming their own, say like, you're disingenuous. I don't think you're actually a woman, and I'm not going to keep pretending you are. That's pretty interesting. It's a little bit of a micro win for truth. And on this recent Dylan Mulvaney controversy, the quartering on YouTube, he reports, there's this video here, woke backfire, Dylan Mulvaney canceled by the woke left, million followers gone over hilarious reason. So the quartering has reported that Dylan Mulvaney has lost himself over 1 million followers as the left is now seemingly consuming another one of their own, which is just what the left does. You have to do exactly as we say, fall in line, and the minute you step out of line, we turn on you. Do you want to belong to our group? In that quartering video, there is a really funny parody montage about Dylan Mulvaney, so we're gonna take a quick look at that right now.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius. Real Men of Genius. Today we salute you, Mr. Really, Really Bad Transgender. Mr. Really, Really Bad Transgender. We have to listen to your claims that you're a real woman, but you couldn't even be bothered to get a doctor to cut your Johnson off. Call me a doctor. You rose to fame after destroying several corporate brands, leading some to wonder, is this guy for real, or is this just a desperate cry for attention? Oh, we don't care. But no matter how they feel, love you or hate you, they have to respect the grift. You're a star. So crack open an ice cold Bud Light, Mr. Tranny Man, because you really put the pro in pronouns. Mr. Really, Really Bad Transgender.
That is pretty good. So Lia Thomas is not allowed to compete as a woman in the Olympics, apparently because we're finding new evidence that he's not a woman. Dylan Mulvaney losing 1 million followers, being canceled a bit by the left. We still have a lot more work to go, but I think these are good wins for the side of truth and just common sense and reality. The tide is certainly turning on just the mindless acceptance and propagation of LGBTQ propaganda. It has turned significantly in the past year, because for the handful of years before this, only the bravest were speaking out, and now more and more people giving themselves permission to simply say what they think. And I wish everyone was saying what they thought 4 or 5 years ago, but kind of like this, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, second best time is today. So today is the second best time for more and more people simply using their God-given voice for the reason that it was given to them, which is to say what they think. And the more we say what we think, the less lies and hypocrisy and corruption win, and the more truth conquers everything that is not aligned with truth. In other words, freedom wins. That's what I think. Let me know your thoughts on these topics in the comments below. Look forward to hearing what you think. Are you going to watch the Olympics now that Lia Thomas isn't going to be there? I was not going to watch it anyway. Look forward to seeing you on our next video. And until then, stay free and stay true.